So, good afternoon and welcome back. And we're just in the process, or I'm just in the process with my helper today, of checking out the window that we made in Austria and checking it up against its hole. So, if we take the frame and we pop it up here, as you can see, it is the right size. So that, for a start, is brilliant. I wanted to leave this because this is very old and very nice. I'll just wire brush it and paint it. And that's in a very old wooden frame that I thought I'd leave too. And I'll fix this sort of through into this old wooden frame behind and this way through into the wall, and then obviously foam it and seal it. But there is a problem. So if I lift it up just a little bit, obviously it needs to be set up better than this. But there's our frame. It's up against this frame, and if I get my little helper to come and hold the camera for a second, over here, from this. It's also not quite perfect. It needs to come back a little bit. So it's not quite straight. Thank you. But it's not that far off. And that's because this bit of wood here isn't that far off either. We're not up against it all the way. But on the other side, we have a huge gap. So that's a problem. This is completely off. Now there are two ways of dealing with this. Either I'm going to make a sliver to go in there, and a sliver to go in here along the top, or I'm going to have to move this, split it out and bring it further back and then wall back up to it. Okay, well, I had a little knock with a hammer and I can sort of see that the frame doesn't go in too far. So I'm going to go once round with this, just on those two sides there, and we'll see if we can't get it straight, wedge it there and then cement back to it. And then hopefully the whole thing will hold together quite well. I've been all the way around the frame on the inside now, and let's see if I can knock it. Certainly beginning to split. I've checked and the metal doesn't go into the stone, so it's just going to be a matter of probably going once around the top now and getting it to move. So in the end it wasn't too bad, just knocked out whatever was back cemented there, and we'll cement that back in a minute, and down here. So now it's just a matter of getting it perfectly straight. The other side's still there, nothing's moved. So I'm now going to pull it back, line it up, clean off all of this, mix up a little bucket of cement, and get it set. But get it set with this window frame screwed into it, so that both of them are square together. And that'll probably be about it for today. But let's get it straight first and get it cleaned up. So this time, when we offer up the frame, it now sits all the way around, and it now just needs to be set so that it's upright, because obviously that window is obviously not perfectly either, and that it sits in the middle of the hole. And then we'll get two long screws through to hold everything square. I've backfilled this. Backfill that from there. That'll all be foamed out, but I want to fill that with cement here and put a block of wood on the back of it. So there we go. I'm going to go and get two very long screws, a drill bit and a drill, and get this set up square on the best square possible. Okay, so I fixed the frame with 4 screws onto the outer frame. and it doesn't look great because it's not square, so I'm going to unscrew it and screw it back in. That needs to go that way. Okay, so there we go. I put the 2 leaves in. This is how it now will look when it's open. Obviously still needs some sanding, some painting, some finishing, some fixing, some glass, and the overlap needs to be cut into the edges here, which I'll probably do in a minute now. But basically, that's our window. I think it looks excellent. It certainly fits in with the rest of the house. It's an old traditional wooden window. So super happy, but still need to do quite a lot. So I'd like to get some cement in there before I knock off. And I might just groove down here quickly with the router so that it shuts. And that will hold it so that I can maybe even squirt some foam around it if I put a little spacer in. So let me go and see if I can work this out. And there we go. After a huge amount of faffing about, that window is closed. And there's our overlap. So it works. It works quite well. It obviously still needs a little bit of fine tuning. But basically, that's what it's going to look like. And I think it looks fabulous. It closes. We need a mechanism to screw on this side here. That'll hold it shut. It needs a little bit of sanding, obviously, because there's still some raw bits which are stopping it from closing, and lots of sawdust and what have you. But basically, I made a window. Super happy with it. I think it looks great. So there we go. Okay, well, good morning and welcome back. It is now the next morning. It's still pretty miserable out there, to be honest. Incessant rain, which is unusual for this time of year. Oops. But the window's still here. It's set, it hasn't moved. And now I'm going to go once around the frames for my glass inserts so that I can order them and maybe pick them up this afternoon. And then I'm going to foam it, and then I'll at the end I'll put the cement in to the gap there, which I have over there. So first things first, I'm going to get the router out, set up the bit so that it doesn't cut as deep as it did yesterday, because we don't have much wood on this bit to play with. But I'm going to make that edge just a little bit less. It shouldn't be a huge problem, but I miscalculated, so that's 100% on me. So this router bit that I've been using is quite clever, because it has a little ball bearing on top that sort of slides along, and that decides how, so I can get it in focus, how deep it's going to cut. And it comes with a whole range of them in different sizes, and you can just swap them out at the top. So I'm now going to put a slightly larger one on to make a slightly shallower groove. Okay, well, as you can see, I'm now covered in sawdust and steaming. But this is now grooved out, and that's where the glass will sit, mastic and glass. I need to square out the edges, so I'm going to use my little jiggle saw for that. And then I can measure it and order the glass. And after that, yeah, there's still a fair bit of sanding and planing and finishing to do, but by the time I go in a couple of days' time, this should be completely done. So here's the saw I want to use for that, and this just jiggles backwards and forwards, and you can go straight in like that. So just 1, 2, 3, and that should square out the edges. I haven't got a tripod here at the moment, which makes it a bit more difficult to show you exactly what I'm doing, but I'll be right back. There we go. All the holes are square and ready for glass. So definitely getting there. This is thin, but it goes quite deep. So I don't think we'll have many problems there, to be honest. It still needs to be planed down here so the gap is even and sanded. Obviously I messed up a bit there. I've succeeded in making a window that looks like it was made by an Italian farmer 150 years ago with no power tools. and I've done that with a lot of power tools, so at least it's authentic, eh? Okay, I've just got the compressor out, blew once around it, and I'm going to put this foam, mounting foam, not expanding foam, around the edge, and that'll be sealed, and then I can go and finish my pizza dough while this is drying. So after a million distractions, it is now time to primer the window so that I can get the glass in, because the last time we went here there were cats in the house, and they obviously came in through here because this is the only open place they can get into these days. They can't climb up there, that's far too high. So I really want to get the glass in this window, so I'm going to primer it now, just a quick layer of white, or inside and outside, even though outside will eventually be blue. And then once it's dry, I can go and put these 4 panes of glass in. That shouldn't take long. So there we go, it's all primed. Doesn't really look white, but it's fine. Now I have to go and find the mastic machine and the right mastic. I'll leave this to dry for a little bit, and then we'll get the window glass stuck in. So we came back up the other day with the trailer, fully loaded as you saw, and now I have to put it back where it belongs, which is behind the Golf. But the Golf roof has deteriorated over the winter again. I now have a small lake in the bottom of it I'm going to have to get rid of before I try and drive it anywhere. You would have thought there'd be a drain hole in here somewhere. Maybe it's clogged. Anyway, it is what it is. Right, well, let's see if it starts. It's a bit mouldy as usual on the steering wheel. The rest isn't too bad. I'll get a good clean next time, maybe when the sun starts shining. But no, battery is dead this time. Okay, there we go. 4 panes of window installed. It's a complete mess as usual, but I've got a scraper and I will scrape them afterwards. I put little locks on. That'll hold it quiet. There seems to be a problem with the kids. I'll go and have a look at that in a second. But there's our window. It needs little bits of wood here, and then resealing both in and out. I've run out of cork, so there we go. But I think it'll be excellent, certainly authentic. So there we go. I'm going to leave it open now, leave it to dry, and then we'll come back and close it before I leave back for Austria tomorrow morning. And there we go, 10 minutes on charge, and it's turning over, purring like a pussycat. Doesn't seem to have much fuel in it. We'll see if that goes up after a while. I'm going to leave it running for a few minutes and then reverse it out of the way so I can get the trailer in. When I come back, it'll be time to disinfect it, get rid of, look at that quantity of water there. So yeah, no, it needs a good clean, and it basically needs a new roof. So that will probably be a DIY video one day. Not massively expensive if you do it yourself, but quite a lot of work, I think. Well, we'll see. This stuff I put on was probably done more harm than good. There we go. Okay. Oops. There we go. Well, good, in fact, afternoon, and welcome back. And I know it's been a while since we've been here, but look, my gate is still there. It still works. Unfortunately, the weather's pretty grotty. Everything has overgrown, just like in France, but this is the grand sum of our garden, this 1.5 square meters where the water meter is. You see the water meter's in that little box there, and this wonderful rose that produces 1 million roses but needs some serious pruning. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy up the terrace and get that ready for summer, because summer is approaching. You wouldn't know it now, but it is. And tomorrow it should be here. So I'm going to open this gate here, and then I'm going to start bringing down wood and what have you from up there on the terrace from the kitchen. But let's go upstairs and see what's going on. Well, as you can see, not much has changed here. The plaster has set. The window, well, the window's quite good. The window's there where it's supposed to be. We need to do the door, which is here, this old door that needs to be framed and reset. And then, yeah, hopefully very soon I'll be able to get back on this. But it's dry, the roof has held the winter, everything's pretty good. The job for today is out here. So as you can see, pretty miserable weather today. But there we go. And now it's just going to be time to get everything organised. I'm going to need a scaffold inside eventually when I start plastering further up the walls. So that'll have to just basically go in the kitchen. I'm going to tidy around rather, and get ready for doing that door, which hopefully I'll get done in the next couple of days. This is the window from the outside. So the glass is filthy, but I can clean that. Otherwise, it looks great as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, the table, chairs. I just need to get rid of everything. Get rid of this wood, this old barbecue. I'm going to take up to the tennis because it's redundant here. And then, well, yeah, stained glass and what have you from when I did the floor. So everything's sort of a bit of a tip at the moment, but we'll hopefully get this sorted out pretty quickly. Okay, well, it's the next day, and as you can see, I'm already sweating. I've been trying to get the Golf to start. The battery is flat, and my charger doesn't seem to work anymore. So I'm going to have to go and borrow one so that I can take that away and have it unmoulded and cleaned. I've gotten rid of some of the stuff off the terrace. So the big pile of wood that was here, the sun was shining, now it's looking grim again. And I need to drive the Golf open. It'll be sunny tomorrow apparently. So yeah, I'm going to open this door, get the scaffolding inside, and then we can start pressure wash, probably the walls. We'll see. They might not need it, but basically get everything off here so that it's usable. Okay, well, I got the jacuzzi emptied there. It's filthy, and I don't know if it'll do another season. But I got that. You see what was happening there is where the old bathroom, the old loo was. There was no waterproof lining underneath, so I've lined it now with plastic so that it overlaps, and that stops water going through into the arch below. Now, all of a sudden, it started raining, so I need to tidy this away, get everything set up, and then go and hide from the rain for 10 minutes. Okay, well, yeah, it's sort of a summer thunderstorm. It's going to be June tomorrow, so it's time for this to stop. Other than that, yeah, well, these are drying up. I think the second layer will get rid of the seepage, and obviously I'll have to do up. I need to go up higher. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the top half yet. If it's worth plastering all the way up, it probably is. It's just a pain, but it needs to be done. Yeah, that worked very well. The wall line, if you remember, there was nothing there. Windows in, it's filthy, but yeah, and that's about it. So this year the weather has been so appalling all through the spring. We've hardly been here. Obviously I was in France where it was massively hot, but here and in Austria it's just been horrible. There we go. I think it'll probably lay off in a couple of minutes. I've emptied some of the stuff out of the Golf and I really wanted to get it cleaned up, and I'll show you that in a minute. Well, as you can see, it's sort of slowing down now. Still pretty grim over there. In Grondola, the next little village, you can see up there. But over this side, it's blue skies and sun, so who knows. As you can see, I gave the rose a serious trim now, which has done it really a world of good. And, well, nothing's happened there. You see the water just from that couple of minutes of rain drizzling down the wall, so not fabulous, but she's in town. I spoke to her earlier on. She seems to be skirting the subject for the moment, so we'll see. Now it's time to get back to here. I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff that I stored out here, make a passageway through the kitchen. It's eventually stopped raining, and here I am in the trusty Golf with a bit of mould and a lot of dirt, on my way to have it cleaned. It's just turned 25, I think, 24 or 25, but I think 25, and it drives like a dream. I mean, it's so trusty, so it's worth having it cleaned, I think. Give it a little birthday party. What it does need is a new roof. So I've been scanning the small ads for a year, but most of the second-hand roofs are already pretty duff. So getting a new one might be the only solution. Of course, that's probably more than the car is worth, so I don't know what I'm going to do. If anyone has any very clever ideas on how to fix a very old convertible roof with a lot of holes in it, I'd be happy to know. Right, back on the road. Well, it looks like it was a lot heavier here than it was up at ours. There's little patches of hail, and I've just driven through a huge bit of torn down trees and shredded leaves and stuff, so looks like it was a proper spring storm. You see, look, there's piles of hailstones everywhere. Amazing. And here's me driving through in a convertible. So while I'm here and waiting for them to clean the car, I thought I might as well have a little walk around. This is a town called Villafranca. It's about 15 minutes away from the house, and the river runs through it. I'll walk over to the river now, and there's quite a nice little walk, and obviously, as always, a lot of statues to various wars. Ooh, and look at this, an Alpha 90, which looks sort of deserted. But then again, the tyres are still pumped up. Don't see many of those around anymore. There's the river. It has rained quite a lot now, so it's a bit muddy and murky. The town hall. And surprisingly, the square in front of the town hall looks completely abandoned too. Which is unusual to say the least. And there we go. Look at that. The car has never been this clean. They missed a couple of little bits, but super happy with this. The seats aren't really getting much cleaner. I'll probably have to shampoo them, but everything else looks great. Okay, well, because it's so clean and tidy inside, I've decided to build a makeshift roof for the next couple of weeks till we get back down, so it doesn't just fill with water again and go mouldy. And hopefully that'll do. I think they've put enough cockpit spray in it to kill any mould for the foreseeable future. But other than that, it looks great. It's about 16 different colours of silver, but it still runs and drives beautifully. Okay, das ist ja jetzt noch oben angebunden. Okay, well, unfortunately, it's time to be heading home again. This has been more of a holiday weekend, which I have needed, actually, to be honest, after the last few months, than actually doing anything. Well, we got the terrace sort of sorted out, so it's ready to use for summer. And we had a lovely barbecue last night. But on the other side, the neighbour's got a new strimmer, so he's strimming away. So yeah, I guess I'm going to try and work out when I can be back here, hopefully within 2 or 3 weeks. And I might see if I can give you an update from Innsbruck. And I'll be heading back out to France in July to get that finished, hopefully. I've had a few people who've written to me about renting it. But yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So I'll keep you all updated. And now I'm going to go and put everything in the car and head back to Austria. I hope you're all well. I know this was a short and not very exciting one, but thanks for following along anyway. Take care. Bye-bye for now.